A Hoosier hello to all of you folks listening back at home. Thank you for tuning in to episode 6 of Cross the Bricks.
I think 5. It's
episode 5.
Yeah.
I told you, dude, we're going to lose count.
We are going to lose count.
And then it's over from there. But no, dude, we had a great weekend of motorsports.
We did.
The Daytona 500 happens, which is always kind of like the second jump into motorsports. You know,
it is, because like you got the Rolex
24
24 first, and then you got the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
And that's how you start your year, which is, I think, pretty good for a motorsports season.
It's great. No, dude, both Daytona races always get me so excited.
Yeah.
Obviously, Indycar starts a bit later, but earlier than usual this year, March 1st, coming right around.
Yeah. So the Daytona 500, you and I watched it. You watched the end.
Yeah.
That was a great race. That was easily, I think, the best Daytona 500 of the next-gen era. So of the last 5 years at the very least. And then I think, honestly, it was probably the best Daytona 500 in the last decade. Like, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Probably the best since 2017. I really liked that.
It was a good 500, dude. Like, I watched I was busy earlier in the day, so I watched probably the last 40 laps, roughly, which is half the time all you really need to watch.
Yeah.
And plenty of stuff happens, dude.
Yeah.
As a Carson Hocevar fan, I'm very upset.
I know.
It's NASCAR, but that was a little BS in my opinion. Just the way he got turned. That last lap of Daytona 500 is chaos.
I mean,
and it's because literally people will do anything to get a run.
People want to win. I mean, yeah, that's what winning makes you do. And Eric Jones kind of dumped Hocevar there before the first corner of the lap even, so that kind of sucked. But it was a really competitive race, and that last lap was really cool. Like, 2 wrecks in the last lap. Okay, like, that sounds a bit, like, stupid, you know, but, like, it was really good. Even though Reddick was, like, one of 2 drivers who crossed the line, you know, facing forward without damage. But that was really awesome. That finish, you know, Zane Smith was pushing Chase Elliott, and then Reddick got a run on the outside after Herbst had pushed him. And then Herbst caught back up to him and pushed him again. And then Reddick, you know, switched to the inside after he passed Smith and was with Elliott. And then, you know, Keselowski had a run on the top, and Herbst turned across him, and then it hit Elliott. And did you see Jeff Gordon's reaction on the pit lane? I kind of felt bad for him because, I mean, I like Jeff Gordon a lot, but I'm not a Chase Elliott fan. No offense to Chase Elliott. But, like, I was happy to see Reddick pull that off for Toyota and Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan has a Daytona 500 win. I mean, how insane is that? Like, he's accomplished everything there is to accomplish in sports, I feel like. Well, basically, I mean.
Do you think, like, in the GOAT debate for basketball, is some people are going to be like, he's got 6 championships. Oh, he's got a Daytona 500. LeBron doesn't have a Daytona 500. Yeah. LeBron has a Premier League, though, with Liverpool. So
really? He part owns? Okay, wow.
He's like 25% ownership of Liverpool.
I had no idea. That's crazy. I know he knows. I know he owns part of Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, but I don't think he even knows that. He's not been to any races. He's not very active with the team at all, so I don't count that personally.
LeBron owns a stake in a lot.
I mean, he's a billionaire.
Of things.
He can kind of own whatever he wants.
But no, dude, we got a lot of racing to talk about. We got a lot of IndyCar specific things to talk about, and just kind of the future of IndyCar, the identity of it, all the recent news we've got signed. A lot happened within an hour of us recording last week that we haven't been able to get into yet. And we got open tests to talk about. It's happening right now as we speak. Yeah. They're running at Phoenix. I know you've got the timing and scoring up over there. So
yeah, Newgarden is like 1/100th of a second faster than Rossi right now.
Yeah, so they've got a lot of time to go over there. Good to see Mick Schumacher turning a lot of laps. I know he's pretty far behind on pace right now, but it was expected. So it's pretty good to see. But no, overall, we've got a lot to talk about this week, and I can't wait to dive into it.
All right, so the first order of business now is talking about IndyCar's identity, which we got into a little bit last week, but I have some ideas, and there's more to talk about, so let's dive in. So I think the first thing the IndyCar needs to do is make the championship more official. You know, they don't bring up the championship a lot during the season as much as some other racing series do. And I feel like making that a bigger deal, giving it more prestige would be really good for it. So mentioning it like basically as much as possible. Like before the race, after race, during the race, always talk about championship implications. I know it was difficult last year because Palou was just running away with everything, but we should make it more important. So let's talk about it more. and push like the whole idea of it being like a national championship. You know, this is like the biggest racing championship in North America. Maybe you could say that. It's like a continental championship or like biggest racing championship in the Western Hemisphere. We can work up to that, obviously. We can't really claim that we're the biggest championship in North America if we're not in Mexico, where we only have one race in Canada. But I think if we expand a bit more, you know, a few international races, because most of the population's in the U.S., right? So that should be the focus, obviously. But maybe, you know, race in Brazil, Argentina or something, then claim that. And eventually you could get into a world championship if you want to.
Yeah.
But I think the focus right now should obviously be prioritizing the American races and then like 4 international races. And that could start by being, you know, Mexico City, maybe the race in Sao Paulo. We already got Toronto, maybe a Montreal race. But eventually working up to like, I mean, Zandvoort, F1's moving out of. So in the Netherlands, that could be an interesting European race. Indycar has a decent following in France. So maybe going to Paul Ricard, which is not currently occupied by F1. That could be interesting. They want a race. France feels, you know, pretty betrayed by F1 for them just leaving, literally. What's another one? We could do Fuji in Japan.
Yeah.
I don't know.
These are all a lot of interesting things to talk about. I think claiming IndyCar IndyCar claiming that they're the biggest racing series in America, they probably can't confidently do yet because of NASCAR.
I know.
I don't know if they can claim that in any ad campaign, which is, I think, what we're kind of getting into.
They say that they're the premier open-wheel racing series in North America, which they can make that claim.
They can make that claim.
But you don't want to just be the premier open-wheel series racing. You want to be racing as a whole, right? Premier racing series.
Exactly. Which is what I really like what they're doing right now with the fastest racing on Earth campaign.
Yeah.
Because that is true. IndyCar's because when they started this, a lot of drag racing fans got really upset.
Yeah.
Because technically that is faster. But that's...
Well, fastest average speed goes to the Indy 500.
Yeah. So. It's... In terms of top speed, technically, that's faster. But we can all agree as motorsports fans that that's a different type of racing. Still, full respect to the NHRA guys, but like in terms of what many people would think is racing, oval tracks, road course tracks, you know, multiple drivers, not just 2, at least going at once. Like it's kind of that's something that IndyCar can claim that no other racing series can claim, and we should feed into that more. I love how they mention it at the end of all their. At the end of all of their commercials and everything they're doing right now with that. But I really think that they need to feed into that more.
I agree.
Because they do move faster than Formula 1 cars and NASCARs and Formula E cars and whatever you want.
And again, that's only on one race on the calendar per year, and maybe Nashville. Like on the road courses and street courses, it's, you know, slower than F1. So... Yeah, there is some truth to it, obviously, but if you really want to make that claim, you're going to need more races that have speed like Indy. And I think that's another thing that they need to do is they need more ovals. They need more fast ovals.
Yeah.
Fans love fast ovals. I love fast ovals. You love fast ovals.
We love fast ovals.
We love fast ovals. Bring back fast ovals. Like, I love races like Indy, and I love Nashville, which could be a super speedway pretty easily, I feel like. But I think the current setup is good. Anyways, Homestead could be something that they do. You know, Mick Schumacher tested there a few weeks ago. We could explore that.
Yes.
I think expanding the oval calendar is something that's pretty important, and it's really diminished lately. And I do like short ovals as well, but do we really need 2 races in Milwaukee, even though it's a very good race? And obviously we lost Iowa.
I think they've been really looking and pushing to get rid of doubleheaders fully.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have talked about the implications of that and how it's unfair to a lot of drivers, because now Lundgaard's got to do 2 ovals, and that's not his strong suit. But Connor Daly got 2 ovals. That is his strong suit. Meanwhile, if we did a doubleheader at Road America, it'd be vice versa. And I just don't know if IndyCar, at least in the past few years, and still probably today, is in the financial and economic place where they're trying to get to 18 races. Is that where we're at right now?
Yeah.
And I think that's where they want to be at. I think that is a good sweet spot to be at.
You're going to want to get up to 20. I think 20 is the golden number for amount of races.
I think Formula 1 has too many.
I agree. I think 24 is too many. And by the end of the season, after following it for a full year, you're just kind of worn out and you're ready for it to be over. That's how I felt, at least by Abu Dhabi, or even before then, by Vegas, watching it last year. 24 races is too much. So that's why I think 20 is the sweet spot for IndyCar. That's where they should go.
I agree. And I think adding those should be ovals. We've talked about that before, just playing into that. But there's not a lot of things in terms of identity-wise IndyCar can claim, right? Technically, F1 cars are going to have a faster lap time at almost any track that Coda showed us that a few years ago. And NASCAR is going to have more cars. They have the more ovals. NASCAR has been America's racing series for a long time now, at least in terms of popularity. I think that if IndyCar is going to claim something to the average spectator, to the general public, the fastest racing on earth, they're not going to look too deep into it. They're just going to be like, oh, IndyCars move faster than any other race car on earth. Mm-hmm. And that is, you see it a lot. This is a weird, kind of, I'm blanking on the word, but you see it a lot with amusement parks. With they'll build a roller coaster and build 1 foot taller than the tallest roller coaster in the world at that point, so they can say it's the tallest roller coaster in the world, when really you don't feel that 1 foot, right?
No.
But to the general public, that's really cool. I've now ridden the fastest roller coaster or the tallest roller coaster in the world. Mm-hmm. To the general public, saying that IndyCar is the fastest racing in the world, it's a cool marketing scheme. They feel like they're a part of the fastest thing, and it's something they can claim to their friends. I went to the Indy 500, the fastest race in the world, right?
Yeah.
Those things are important to the people who don't know a ton like we do, or like you do, I assume, listening to this podcast. Those things are important. And I think IndyCar, what F1 has done really well is they've taken the general public and they've captured their attentions through Netflix drama series and
social media as well.
Social media to get them and turn them less of a general public into at least a mediocre fan.
Right.
Someone who knows a little more. And I think that's what IndyCar has been lacking. They get the diehard fans because diehard racing fans know what IndyCar is, but they struggle to capture the
casuals,
the general public.
But casuals can become diehards, and we've seen that with F1.
No, exactly. And that happens over, they're doing a really good job with driver personalities, right? Like a lot of the things that the casual F1 fan really lacked or really loves right now is getting to know the drivers. And a Netflix series is great to do that. And I'm not saying we should copy that in IndyCar, because the last thing I want to do is copy F1.
Well, we already did with the whole 100 Days Till Indy thing.
Well, that didn't really work out,
no,
did
it didn't. No.
But I think finding our own niche thing, like the fastest racing on earth, to bring, if you really brand it as American, there's a lot of American motorsports fans. I know a lot in my life that have become good big F1 fans via their social media presence and all of that. If we can bring have a marketing scheme or an identity to IndyCar, which is what we're trying to find here, I think we can bring a lot of those general fans, find new ones. I'm not even talking about stealing F1s,
no.
Or they can become both, just like how you and I are.
There's a lot who are both.
Exactly. But I think even there's more fans out there that aren't into racing at all right now that will view it as the American. It's their home race. They have a race within an hour of their house, especially if they live within the Midwest, right? There's a lot of. It becomes more inclusive, and people really pay attention and love it and follow it on social media if they feel like they can be a part of something.
Right.
And we've talked about how accessible IndyCar is.
That's another thing. Because it's accessible, we need to really push that agenda. We should be advertising that. Races are affordable to go to, unlike F1. It's really an alternative in that regard. They're inexpensive to attend. They're really fun. You can find them all over the country, Yeah. We have 17 races in the U.S. That's a lot, and they're pretty spread out. So traveling is not too much of an issue for most people, I don't think, especially considering most of the fan base is in the Midwest. But we do want to expand,
Yeah.
And I think catering to the East Coast as well. There's a big market there for motorsports fans. So
100%. Especially the Northeast. We haven't gone there in a while. Aside from Watkins Glen, Pocono, and then I think we had a Baltimore street race a while back. There isn't a lot of, aside from Watkins Glen, there isn't, which I think we should go back to, there isn't a ton of permanent road courses, or at least to my knowledge, that there really are that we can go expand into. And obviously
Watkins Glen's the best option.
Exactly. And obviously the DC race is going to be good. I listened to Alexander Rossi talk about that on his podcast, because he went and he met everyone.
Oh, right.
And he confirmed that although the announcement came late, this has been in the works for over a year.
Okay.
So although they don't have the biggest reason they don't have a layout laid out yet is because a lot of the monuments they would be possibly racing around are very worried about the sound vibrations coming off of the cars and everything, and how that's going to affect national monuments, which is obviously something you can't do. Yeah. It's more complications than plans. It sounds like this thing has actually been planned, which is you and I, at least, our biggest concern from the beginning is that this was getting thrown together. Yeah. And it's the people who are presenting it and are funding it are the people who own the Washington Wizards and the Washington Capitals. Okay. And they're big motorsports fans are excited to have IndyCar in. Yeah. And they haven't signed a multi-year deal because I want to see how it goes, especially with things like the monuments in D.C. and shutting down some streets in D.C. can become problematic. So they want to see how all that goes. But they have plans that if this goes well to do this not be a one-year thing, right? Yeah. And I know it seems like it was thrown together late, but it sounds like this is a more thought-out, planned event, and maybe even less political, right? Like, I know that was a big part of it earlier, especially with President Trump signing I
still think it's going to be political, though.
Oh, 100%. It's in D.C.
I'm not confident about.
It's going to be political to an extent, but, I mean, if you look at F1, the entire thing's political. Like, there's a lot of racing is political. Yeah. When you involve that much money, it's going to get political.
Well, yeah, naturally is, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of third parties that are funding this race and that are investing in it. Yeah. Also, another big thing they talked about is in certain government-owned lands, there's a lot of rights about advertising and what you can and cannot do. Yeah. So there's a lot of places that they cannot race on in D.C. Unless their cars have no advertisements on it, which is also a very big no-no for IndyCar, obviously, because you can't do races.
They need sponsorship.
Exactly. So they had to work around a lot of things, which made this kind of complicated, which is why I don't think we have a layout yet. But it sounds like the event and the coordination of it is pretty well put together. And I'm excited to see how it can go. I have more hope now for it going well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's good to hear.
Yes.
About DC. So let's see some more things I have about the affordability agenda and the event. So every race needs to be, a can't-miss event. It's a must-see thing. You have to be there, be the talk of the town. IndyCar needs to just turn all the heads when they're there. So get people interested, and I'll think more about how they do that, how you want to do that, and how you want the series to look, right? And we talked about identity. We need an established identity before we do all this. So that's something you really got to think about. You want to be the biggest racing championship in North America, and you want to show that you want to prove it. So, like I said, with making the series more official, I think something they could do, and this also goes with sponsorship, is actually like decorating the track more. Like when you watch F1 or NASCAR, they have sponsors all over the track, everywhere. Like sponsor placement on the barriers, walls, whatever. Like in F1, it's DHL.
Or even presentation.
At the IMS, you got Tag Heuer, right, all along the walls. That should be at every IndyCar race, realistically. Maybe not Tag Heuer, maybe like more affordable brands, because, people care more about brands that they can actually afford to buy products of,
Yeah.
So I think, I miss Target, but, for example, you could have Target along the track or like DHL.
I really love that idea. Yeah. I think the big thing with that in IndyCar is we need the brands. Because we've seen it at tracks. Like every street course has Java House on the walls.
Yeah, it's not the street courses is the problem. It's the road courses. The road courses just lack branding. And like if you look at a picture of Barber, for example, rest in peace, Mr. Barber, by the way. It's blank everywhere. And same for like Mid Ohio, Road America. It's just silver barriers, which don't look super interesting or appealing on TV. So you want to make it look interesting on TV. Color,
Yeah. That is fair. Yeah. Because you can do that at a place like Road America.
Of course.
Because F1 does when they go to Spa or whatever.
Yeah.
But
have you seen pictures? Sorry to interrupt, but have you seen pictures of like Silverstone or Spa before and after F1's there? Like, it's remarkable how it just looks so blank before they're there, and then once they're there, it's like decorated. It's like a whole different track. It's like it just changed. Yeah. But it's just because they care so much about the presentation of the sport.
I think it's
something IndyCar needs to focus on too.
And an IndyCar comes down to funding.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if they've had the funding and the sponsorship to do that, right?
I don't think it can be that hard to just place signs around the track.
Setting up isn't the problem. It's the fact that they can get, say, 20 on a 4-mile road course. They probably need 20 brands to sponsor all of that.
Not necessarily.
I mean, it's going to be a significant amount, and I don't know if they have that many that want to be invested. But if we can create IndyCar,
you can start at a lower asking
spectacle.
Price. Yeah.
That's true. just to make it a dynamic, and then the price will go up with demand.
Yeah. And then, right.
But that goes in the same question of that makes it look more like a spectacle. Mm-hmm. But do you want to make, I guess, racing itself is infiltrated with sponsorship? So I guess it's kind of a bad argument to have. Like, it's just the entire sport is. I
think that's something that people are just gonna have to accept. I know a lot of people don't love the sponsorship aspect of racing, but I think it's fine. I've never had a problem with it, and I think it's gonna have to be a part of it moving forward. Otherwise, we're not gonna go anywhere.
And we need the funding.
Yeah, funding. We need funding. Number one issue. So also on top of that, with presentation, I was thinking about the podium. How can we make the podium look more official too when making this the biggest championship in North America? What do we want that to look like? So we could have, I mean, if you want, you can just do flags like an international event, which theoretically this could end up being, right? Racing. Obviously, we wouldn't have this at ovals, it'd just be at the road courses and street courses. But, when you look at the podiums at the moment, they don't look super impressive, most of them, except the IMSs. But
of course,
they don't really, pop out. They looks kind of, thrown together last minute sometimes, kind of cheap. Maybe we don't do that.
Yeah, do a lot of the tracks have the infrastructure and obviously IndyCar would, help pay for it, but, a lot of these tracks that we go to, I guess street courses is obviously different because everything's built up. But, at least for Road America, for example, they have that little building where they have the podium in front of it, but there isn't a lot of, there's not much else you could do. A lot of these tracks don't have the...
That's why IndyCar's got to supply the stuff. Most tracks don't have, purpose-built podiums. It's just they have a spot for it, and then the series is supposed to take care of it themselves.
Yeah.
So IndyCar will have to do that.
Are you talking about more... legit a whole thing like IMS has with a rig, with a elevator, or we just need to make the podium, the presentation of it better?
Yeah, just the presentation. We don't need anything super fancy like the IMS. That's beautiful, but that's for the IMS, right? I think something like, I guess if you look at just a regular F1 race, it's not a super big podium, but it's it pops out when you look at it, in person or on TV. So I was in Canada 2 years ago. And, you could see it from, a mile away, and it just stood out, and it was huge. In IndyCar, it's much smaller, not really notable. So maybe, a bigger presentation for the podium would be cool.
Would you like us to implement, national anthems for the winner? It's kind of like how F1 does.
I wouldn't care for that particularly.
Yeah.
I mean, we could. But I think flags, that's optional. I think you could do that if you wanted to. But I mean, that definitely would help with the presentation aspect of it. Yeah. So it's something we could look into.
It does make it more, because although we are in America, IndyCar is full of drivers from many different nationalities, many different countries. It does make it, that would make it more of a driver representing their country thing.
Maybe it would matter more to the drivers if their anthem is played and their flag is being flown behind them at the end of the races.
Yeah.
Because we don't really think of these races being international competitions because it's in our country, right? It's domestic. But for these drivers, well, not the American drivers, but international drivers, they're coming overseas. This is an international event to them. So maybe they want that respect for their nation.
I mean, yeah, it's all about the presentation, and that's definitely a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, especially when drivers win championships, a lot of them they grab or the 500 is a great example of this. Last year, someone had a Spain flag in the
grandstands,
crowd,
they ran out and they handed it to him,
handed over to Palou. So Palou had a Spain flag in the car with them. Right. They all want to represent their country.
Yeah.
Especially because they're high-level athletes, and they don't always get the respect for that, and that's a good way to show that.
Exactly. And also, we kind of already do it in a way. Remember, IndyCar or Indy 500 qualifying, they have their flags behind them when they're taking their grid pictures. So, we kind of already do it in a way. We'd just be expanding it.
Yeah. I kind of like that idea. Just more pageantry.
Yeah.
Pageantry. Wow, I really can't talk today.
That's okay.
But around the podium, and just make it... Because, right now, I'm going to be honest, I don't always really watch the podium celebration.
I always do. I feel like that's something that's important to me into racing. I don't know.
I feel like it would be important to me if it was more than what it is right now.
Yeah, see what I'm saying?
I just always expect I'm going to see the clips on Instagram later, and I'm not worried about it, I think you're right. I think we need to make the podium look a bit more pageantry.
And give the drivers kind of more time to sink in with their emotions, you know? Like, you see that in the Olympics right now where they're just standing there and hearing the anthem play, and, like, it's just the emotion rushes in. And, like, that would happen in IndyCar, too.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine if, like, Pato O'Ward, I mean, I guess he wouldn't maybe do this at the Indy 500, but if he wins, or maybe he wins the champion, let's say he wins the championship at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So we're in Laguna Seca, right? The podium is playing, the Mexican anthem is playing behind him. And he's got his flag behind him, and it's just like all the emotions are just sinking in. He just like starts crying on the podium. Like, that's a sight that you want to see because it's a beautiful sporting moment.
Yeah.
Having the podium be more emotional because of like having that country representation aspect, that would be important. So you know something that IndyCar has struggled with and I think needs to address? Merchandise.
Okay.
I don't know if you've noticed, but the IndyCar shop online looks pretty empty, and I don't love that.
Meaning right now or in season?
Right now, but even in season, like there wasn't a lot last year. There's not much availability, much to offer. I think that goes for diecast T-shirts, and I think most drivers should have at least like 2 or 3 T-shirts and like options, right?
The biggest thing for me is that they don't make a diecast.
Hats.
Well, hats, yes, but they don't make a diecast for every single driver.
I don't think they need to be honest. Like,
really?
I mean,
you can limit it, but there is going to be someone out there that looks at Stingray Rob. They'll probably make a Stingray Rob one. That look at Dennis Hogger and see his random car and think, oh, that's my favorite driver, and then they can't find anything except for maybe a shirt.
You're right. Wait,
like,
so yeah,
I'm not saying you have to make a ton.
Yeah,
but make some.
I think it depends on what your ROI is going to be because you don't want to like spend a ton making like some diecast that no one's going to buy. So I think you have to figure out. I think that's what IXO is doing, right? They're having like a backlog of pre-orders, so like that's going to help. I think, but
I think their ROI on the bigger name guys, Pato, Polo, whatever,
those are going
to be enough.
Yeah.
That it is worth losing some on those lower guys just to
offer them.
It shows that you care about every single person in your series.
That is true.
It helps, even if it's 4 fans throughout the year, make 100 Dennis Hogger cars.
Yeah.
And then if you have to make more, do and just apologize for them being in, let people pre-order them for a cheaper price or something.
Yeah. I mean, just think about
just enough. Because they didn't have a David Malukas shirt last year.
I know. That's what I'm talking about. That's the problem.
I was going to buy one at Road America and went to the store twice to buy a David Malukas Voigt shirt, but they ran out of them at the 500 and didn't make any more for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
Malukas finished second at the 500 last year and is a lot of people's favorite drivers. Yeah. That didn't make any sense. I could have bought all the Prema gear I wanted, which no one bought.
No.
But I couldn't buy a Malukas shirt.
Yeah.
Like, that made no sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense. And I think diecast as well, like, if you went to the IMS, like, or just the museum or the store at the track, in the infield, there were really only, like, Polo diecasts and award diecasts. Like, I didn't even see any Herta ones. I'm, like, being honest. Like, that's not great. Or if I did, it was, like, a 2024.
Yeah.
But it was, like, we're in 2025. It's really not great. Meanwhile, like for NASCAR, if you go to the NASCAR race at the IMS, you could find basically anything, I feel like.
Yeah. NASCAR does a really good job with merchandising.
They do. That's what I'm saying. Like, we should follow their example, maybe.
Yeah, I think...
They have diecast for everyone.
I think, diecast is definitely... I think it's even more of... I'm not going to say kids, but like...
You'd be surprised with how many adults collect this stuff.
Oh, yeah. I still collect them.
Yeah,
I have tons of them.
Yeah.
But like... That's more of like I think the stuff that really sells is the T-shirts and hats.
That's the thing. The hats don't look super official sometimes, or like don't look like super great.
I think it just depends. A lot of the
sponsors or like the driver's logo. Like I remember the Colton Herta hat was like his personal logo.
Yeah, I'm wearing a Santino Ferrucci hat right now.
Yeah, like a Colton Herta hat should have had Gamebridge on the front, and then it should have had. Yeah, see, I know, like it should be the sponsor, then the driver number, and then the signature or the flag. That's what it should be.
That's exactly what this is.
Except it's not his sponsor on the front.
Is it that? Oh, yeah. Well, it's his logo.
Oh, yeah. But I know, but like...
I don't know. Well, because I don't want...
Then team logo on the back.
Because back in the day, I bought a Napa Rossi hat.
Yeah.
And I liked it. And then he went to McLaren, and literally, like, it just had his number and, like, his signature, exactly what you're just talking about. Like, I don't, now it's obviously going to be, like, it's going to have a little bit on it. Like, I don't mind if the McLaren hats are going to have a Pato and then the McLaren logo, and it's going to be yellow, or not yellow, I'm sorry, orange.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. But I like the drivers have their own logo. Because I don't want to support team... Java
I'm
House.
just thinking, like, from a NASCAR
I own a
perspective.
Java House hat. I want to, like, if y'all want to support Team Java House and Ed Carpenter Racing, I can buy an Ed Carpenter Racing hat or a Java House hat.
Okay, see, I see what you mean, because, like, if they're, like, with the sponsor for a long time, like, I'm just thinking about NASCAR. Like, I still wear, my Kyle Busch M&M's hat sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's also different. He was with that team, with that sponsor for, like, over 10 years. Well, 15 years. It's like,
maybe if someone had bought a Verizon Will Power hat or something.
Well, they'd wear that.
Also... I can't think of a lot of drivers where the sponsor in IndyCar, because of the way sponsors rotate, where the sponsor and the driver are synonymous with each other. If you think of right now, PNC and Dixon, DHL and Pelot only because of last year, but that's still a growing relationship. It's only been a year so far. You could have said Gamebridge and Herta, but I think we're running out.
So do we make personal numbers like in F1?
No.
No,
because that becomes part of team branding. Yeah. And I like that about IndyCar.
I like that too.
I don't mind. I think the way they do hats right now and the way they brand it is not a bad thing. I think you should be able to buy a driver hat that's branded to the driver, that's their own brand. You can buy it from there, davidmalukas.com, like this type of hat.
Yeah.
You can buy...
I just like having the team colors, though. Like the Santino hat you're wearing, I don't think of Santino Ferrucci when I see that color.
Yeah, like that's fair.
Yeah.
But, for example, my David Malukas hat is black and red, which is the AJ Foyt team colors. So sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I think there should be sponsorship hats. That's like, I have a Java House Ed Carpenter Racing hat.
Right.
And then I think there should be team hats. I think you can, like, I have a hat with just the Ed Carpenter Racing logo on it. I like all of that, and I like those options, right? They don't have a hat for every driver. And we've talked about this before, like, and you're not going to sell a lot of Dennis Hogger hats probably, but it's still good to have them as an option. He has a logo, I guarantee it.
Yeah, sure.
They all do.
Yeah.
Like, it's all part of merchandising, right? And it's cool to be able to say I had a rookie year Dennis Hogger hat when inevitably he becomes a star at a top team in the next few years, right? Like, I think a lot of people see that potential out of him, and there's a good chance it happens.
Yeah.
And I think the driver jerseys that you see, they need to probably have one for every driver.
Yeah.
It's hard with the sponsorships, and I get that, but if it's just a shell shirt for New Garden, I don't think fans care too much about the sponsorship.
No.
And there are a few options for the top guys.
I know, like, people love wearing the shirts that, like, the drivers wear because it makes them feel like they're part of the team, right?
I'm wearing a Connor Daly shirt right now.
Nice. Yeah.
Like
that. That's exactly what I'm saying.
And
like,
it's a Connor Daly JHR shirt.
Yeah.
Like, I just bought it because I knew Connor Daly wasn't going to have a full-time seat for much longer, and I love Connor Daly.
Did you get that when it was like everything was like 50% of the normal?
They did a great sale.
Yeah,
I was so happy.
Yeah.
When IndyCar, it was like 80% off or something like that. Dude, I bought so much stuff in that. And I also love the event hats.
Yeah.
I own a Nashville hat. I own a Road America event hat with like the event logo. Like
they do a good job with that.
That stuff looks great. I think IndyCar actually does a really good job with hats. It's just a bit harder because in F1, people are going to buy a McLaren hat. Maybe a Lando or an Oscar hat.
They don't have, I guess it's just still like the McLaren logo, and then they have like the driver number on the front or like the side.
I like it how IndyCar personalizes it more. I love that. And I think it should be like that everywhere because I'm a McLaren fan in F1, but really I'm a Lando fan.
Yeah.
And that's simply because of, his funny online personality and because he did the one online race in IndyCar. And I was like, all right, I'll root for this guy now. And McLaren's an IndyCar team and all that. But like I think that they should have more. I think F1 loops together drivers too much. Like it should be obviously teams in F1 is a lot more strict than IndyCar, but that is what I like about IndyCar that's different than F1. It's individual per driver. There's not a lot of team orders in IndyCar.
Yeah.
That rarely exists. And if it is, it's more, hey, work together for the first 80 laps in a 100-lap
Also,
race.
no one wants to see team orders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like it's like you see this at the 500 a lot. If Dixon and Palou are the top two, they'll swap back and forth for fuel saving. But once we get to the last 20 laps of that race,
all out the window.
It is.
Nope.
Go find it yourself. And I love that.
Yeah.
That's fine. It is a team sport,
Yes.
right? But once it gets to the down to the wire, it is go race for yourself, driver v driver.
Right.
And that's why I love the way they brand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no problem with it.
Yeah. I think we need more graphic tees, though.
Okay.
Like I have like a Colton Herta shirt. I have a Roman Grosjean shirt from when he was at Andretti. Like, I love graphic tees. So I think more of those. Like, they only have them for certain drivers, and I just don't understand.
And it's
like
typically...
Chip Ganassi Racing, I don't think even... Like, they're the biggest team in the sport, really. And they didn't have graphic T-shirts for Palou or Dixon or Simpson that you could buy at the track or I think online. That sucks. They had a Palou championship shirt, but that's different from like a regular shirt.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I think a lot of them are... Well, because a lot of them are driver created. It's created by the driver's merch team.
Yeah,
obviously, Pato Ward's got his entire own shop. Pato Shop. Shout out Pato Shop.
Yeah.
Got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, a lot of that is, I think merch should be, IndyCar should either partner with, each driver has their own merch line a lot of the time.
They need to encourage it more.
They need to, like, IndyCar needs to take advantage or take over it and be like, all right, if you have your own merch line already, we're going to partner with you and make more stuff.
Like, they're the authority here. Use it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you don't, then we are going to make one for you or heavily encourage you start wanting to work with you again.
Right.
Which, because in F1, each driver also typically has their own merch line or something similar to that.
A lot too.
And it is like expected because it is the biggest motorsport in the world. NASCAR is very similar, at least all the top guys, right? So I think IndyCar needs to focus on that a bit more.
I do agree. Yeah, I think you made a good point. I didn't really think about like the whole, drivers moving teams often aspect. Like, I mean, as a Renus V Case Forder fan, that's it's been rough with him moving
buy a new shirt
teams
every
in
year.
3 years. I haven't even had the chance to like get a shirt or hat. I'm gonna probably just make my own, to be honest. But
no. I think IndyCar does overall a good job with merch.
Yeah.
And McLaren has killed it. You see McLaren stuff everywhere when you go to the track.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. McLaren is really setting a good example on what it should look like.
But I think, and IndyCar, it's good quality stuff. I wear IndyCar shirts, hats all the time that I bought from the stores at the tracks and online, and it's good quality. But I feel like whenever and this goes down to the IndyCar F1 thing, but whenever we go to class here, whenever I see a McLaren hoodie, it's a F1 McLaren hoodie.
Right.
Whenever I see a racing hat, it's a Ferrari hat. It's not, the only relation it has to IndyCar is if it's a McLaren thing. And a lot of them...
I've seen our own McLaren merch. They're quite popular.
Yeah. But if I talked, like a lot of them I'll end up talking to about motorsports, and they like, I wear IndyCar hats all the time, and they'll like my IndyCar hat. They know what ECR is, like,
right.
That they know it, but they're wearing F1 merch still, right? Mm-hmm. And I think IndyCar merch-wise can compete with that if they continue to be individualistic. I don't think we want to be different than F1.
Yeah.
F1 doesn't make a spotlight of their drivers in terms of merch very often.
No.
But IndyCar, that's what IndyCar's all about. Our drivers are stars, and they're individualistic. They don't get looped into teams very often, right?
Yeah. And I don't think they advertise like their drivers merch though. Like
no, F1 or IndyCar.
And both.
But, yeah. But like IndyCar should do that more.
Yeah.
Partner with them so IndyCar still makes them a little bit of money off it, because I understand you need that if you're going to advertise it. But like, I don't know.
I think they also have to do stuff with the teams. A lot of the times it's the team's responsibility.
Yeah.
So figure that out.
All right, Aiden. Sebring testing finished last week.
Mm-hmm.
The first testing. First time we get to see cars on track. And the results came in, and it was pretty interesting. I mean, I want to know your thoughts. Who's kind of your biggest, like, who are you excited about? What result kind of surprised you? They're like, oh, they're doing well. And what, who was... You're like, oh, they're kind of slow. That's not good.
Yeah. Well, okay, this sounds really like cliche because I'm going to mention the first driver and the last driver. Marcus Armstrong, I'm excited for him. I think he's going to probably have a pretty good season. He's in good equipment. He's a fast driver. He was a big sleeper last year. He's very silently put together a very good season. and he's moving in silence going into 2026 as well. So I'm excited to see what he does this year. My big worry, though, is Mick Schumacher. He was pretty far off the pace. I do think that does make sense. That was his, third time ever driving
Third time in
IndyCar.
IndyCar, second on a road course.
Right. So, I mean, you can't really blame him for that. But he'll warm up, He's not doing too bad right now in Phoenix. Let me look where he is. See where he is. Oh, he's last. Shit. Oh, God.
Oh, that's hilarious. But no. Mick's like he was only 1/10 off at the Sebring test. Excuse me. Like he's staying competitive. He's got time to learn, dude.
Mm-hmm.
We see this every time an F1 driver or a European driver comes over and joins IndyCar.
Right.
He's got a lot to compete with.
I mean, the one rare occurrence was Grosjean just jumping in and getting a pole position in his second ever race. But that's very unlikely and rare.
I'd say give Mick half a season to a season and he'll be on pace.
I agree. I think he'll be okay. He's clearly got talent. He's going to figure it out. It's just a matter of time. It's really about breaking into your new shoes, and he's doing that right now. He's got those, fresh Jordan 11s. He's got to crease them, unfortunately, but he'll get there.
100%.
Yeah.
In my the guy I'm going to go with. I think I got to go with Armstrong also.
Yeah.
Him going first. I think I'm going to go with Meyer-Shank in general. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Because Rosenquist was 7th, but he was only 3/10. The top of the leaderboard was pretty quickly, or pretty close. I'm sorry. And they were all quick. But I think Meyer-Shank in general really surprised people. I mean, they're 1st and 7th here. And if you look at it, it's Meyer-Shank, Andretti, Ganassi, or actually that's not, Power's not Penske anymore, Andretti. Andretti, Ganassi, Andretti.
Right.
Ganassi, Penske, Meyer-Shank.
Yeah.
So Honda dominated for sure, which Sebring's always kind of been a Honda track.
Yeah, it has.
But Rosenquist and Armstrong both being top 7 and topping a lot of big names is something that I think a lot of people didn't expect. And they're both quick. And I expect a lot out of Meyer-Shank this year. We saw a lot of AJ Foyt last year. I think part of that is the fact that Malukas had a breakout year and they have that Penske partnership. Obviously, Meyer-Shank has their partnership with Ganassi. But I think Rosenquist continues to prove himself as a top driver in the series. And Armstrong is obviously on the come up. And I see a lot of potential in him. It just takes a few years to get there. And he's been developing well. And he said in an interview today that he's starting to become a short oval guy. He loves short ovals. And he's starting to get better on the ovals as well, which is obviously a big part of being a good IndyCar driver. It took Fro a while, and he's getting there. So I'm excited to see what that Meyer-Shank duo can do this year. And then on my worry side, I'm going to go 2 parts here. I was going to go Penske a little bit.
Okay.
Just because, I mean, they were 6th, 12th, and 17th, which isn't ideal. But then when you really look at the times, Malukas was 17th, but he was only 4/10 off of 4th.
Okay, that's
so it's bad. Really close. And as I mentioned before, Sebring's always been a Honda track, not really a Chevy track.
It's just testing.
It's just testing. But I am going to throw in Graham Rahal here.
Big worry?
As a big worry.
Okay.
He's 23rd. He's only a 10th above Schumacher. Schumacher is...
Really?
Yeah, Schumacher's 3/10 off everybody else. As I'm looking at this, I realized I made a mistake. I had Nolan Siegel in the wrong place.
Oh.
I had him out of order.
That's
Oops.
okay.
It's okay, though. I just can't count or use numbers, apparently. But Graham Rahal...
You're a media student.
I am a media student. I'm not here to do calculus or simple addition, apparently.
Yep.
But Graham Rahal was a few tenths off of the rest of the field, a 10th off of the rest of the field.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of drivers that haven't been in the car for a while, I mean, he's 2/10 off his teammate Louis Foster, who is probably the benchmark of that team right now. And RLL altogether were slow, but Foster's competitive. I mean, he's the same side of time as Malukas.
Yeah.
I think Rahal only being a 10th ahead of Schumacher, as the veteran he is, might be showing his slowing down. I mean, he's getting up there in age, and he's talking about getting close to retirement.
Yeah.
That's a worry for me. If he can't compete at the same level he can, that's a bit nervous, a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, he's been on the decline, I guess, for a few years now anyways. And, he's mentioned that he's on his way out. So,
yeah.
I'm not too worried because it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's nothing new. But, Yeah, I can see why you'd be concerned.
Yeah. He's also mentioned that once he's done, he's done. Like, he doesn't want to do, I'm just going to do the 500 for a few years. He wants to do full season until he's done racing cars and spending time with his family. He's got a few daughters and a good wife. So, like, I think we might be getting close. He said multiple times he's playing it by year by year, just seeing where he's feeling, where his body's feeling. And if this is a sign of anything, it sadly, because that name leaving the sport would be horrible, because everyone knows who Bobby Rahal is.
Yeah. But it's not like the team's going to be going away.
No, exactly.
So, I mean, Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, I think everyone knows the R is Rahal.
Yeah. But no, still, Graham Rahal leaving the sport would be sad.
Also, I'm sure he'd take an executive role at the team.
100%. Oh, he's going to be a driver coach, something.
Team principal, eventually.
But Graham Rahal slowing down. That's my big worry. But no, this was a great episode, Aiden.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on episode 5. Is that what we determined it was?
Yes.
Episode 5. It's a problem. We're 5 in, and I don't know what we're on. And I'm excited to get back next week for our pre-St. Pete talk. It's race week next week.
Let's go.
Woo! I'm so excited.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.